Hello and welcome to Mental Health and UPSC. I'm Dr. Shivan, and today I have with me friend and a special guest, Ambika Raina, who is All India rank 164 in this year's UPSC Civil Service exam. And she has very graciously agreed to speak to people on issues of mental health and issues that happen specifically between the prelims and the mains. So, firstly, Ambika, thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me, Shivan.
It's a pleasure. So, Ambika, before we start this conversation, I'll just like to lay a couple of ground rules down. So, firstly, this is just a conversation. You can stop me at any point you want. You can ask me things that you would like to, and that's completely okay. Also, this is going to be no holds barred, and there is no restriction as to what you might or might not say. We don't edit anything, so feel free to say whatever you want to, and you can ask me whatever you want also. So, firstly, please
Okay.
tell me a little bit about your journey, what it has been like, and how did you decide for this to prepare for this exam, and what was your experience?
It's been quite a long journey, I would say, because this was my third attempt. And third attempt means I've been preparing for more than 3 years. So it's definitely a long journey. It's a tough journey. And you have to face a lot of not just failures, but everyday obstacles during your preparation. I think which is the main challenge. It's not just not finding your name on the final list. It's also every day of trying to maintain consistency, trying to fulfill your schedule, trying to get good marks in test series, etc., etc. So it's definitely a challenging task to go through this exam cycle, I would say, in all its stages. Yeah.
So, why don't you walk me through what your attempts have been like? What was the experience in the three attempts, and how did you handle whatever you felt during those attempts?
So the first attempt I gave in 2020, and I was right out of college because I graduated in 2020 itself. So it was quite a haphazard kind of preparation. Somehow I passed prelims. I also don't know how I did that. And but I couldn't get through the mains. I didn't find my name on the list. And that first experience of not finding your name on the list was uh, quite a setback because I think in the first attempt, everyone is quite naive. And especially if you've been a good student in your life, if you've not faced failure before, it's very hard to expect it. So that was the first time. I think the first time was the most humbling of all. In my second attempt as well, I could clear the prelims, but again, I didn't find my name on the list for clearing mains. And that one was a little less heartbreaking, I would say, because I'd already faced failure once. So it's not that you get used to it. You don't really get used to it at any point in this exam, but I think you learn how to handle it in a better way. You learn how to kind of detach your self worth from this exam result in a small way and not see the failure of making it to the list as a failure of yourself, which is the most important thing to remember. So when I gave the third attempt, kaise to I gave it. I don't know. I decided against giving it. I was very convinced that I'm not going to give another attempt, but somehow I did give it again and found my name on the list. That was quite, I would say, after two failures. I don't want to call it failure actually. After two attempts of not making it, uh, honestly, my expectation out of myself was below zero. So finding my name on the list was quite a happy day. But that's been my journey to the journey full of learnings. Yeah.
Right, and so nice of you to also share it so honestly and talk about how you've also faced failure and it's not been easy. So, just coming off of that, I would like to talk about what you said regarding facing failure for the first time. So, you said you were a good student. So, was that the first time you ever faced failure in any competitive exam? And if yes or no, how did you deal with it?
Yes, it was the first time because up until then, um, I was able to achieve whatever I set my mind to. Like, I know it sounds a bit conceited or maybe like a bit overconfident, but it wasn't that. It's actually fact of the matter is that I used to decide, okay, this is something that I want to do in my life, and I would work hard for it, and I was able to get what I want, like, my choice of college or good marks in boards or things like that. And so there was this, I think, a belief kind of formed in my mind that, okay, if I want something and I work hard enough for it, I will surely get it. You know, that surety of effort was a false idea in my mind, I would say, because UPSC teaches you that no matter how much you prepare, no matter where you've come from, whatever your intellectual capacities are, there is absolutely no guarantee of selection. Just like I would say, just like in life, anything can happen at the last moment. Just because you worked hard for it doesn't mean that you're going to get it. And that was something I had to really learn in this paper, because I was quite naive in the beginning. In the first attempt, I thought, okay, uh, this is the requirement, and if I work hard enough and I put in my best, of course I'll get through. That of course I will get through was kind of an issue there, because Joby, whatever we've been taught in our mythology and all, also even Gita says this, all you can do is concentrate on your effort. You really cannot expect results. And that was a lived, experienced learning that I got in the first attempt, that I wouldn't say that my hard work was any less. And for that matter, I wouldn't say hard work is a problem for most of the people who don't find themselves on the list. So, just because someone's not made it doesn't mean they've not worked hard. And that's what I learned in my first attempt, because I remember that time I used to watch all these toppers talks, okay? And I used to skip all the toppers talks of like third attempt, fourth attempt. I was like, nee, yaar, they might not know what they're talking about. People who've gotten through in the first attempt, only they know. Genuinely, I'm telling you this. I used to watch only people who got through in the first attempt, because I was like, yeah, these are the real superstars. They know what to do and how to do it. So they got through in the first attempt. And I had a lot of respect for them. But slowly in this journey, I'm realizing that uh, I've gotten so much more respect for people who get through in like fifth or sixth attempts, because you need courage to do that. You need so much courage to do that. I mean, not taking away from people who get through in their first attempt. It's a rigorous exam. And if you've managed to crack it in the first go, it means you really did work hard, and something clicked. That's the only reason you're there in the first go itself. But to constantly pick yourself up from failure, then keep trying again and again, I mean, you need a different kind of gutsy person to do that.
Right. And I also feel like this thing where, in competitive exams, where we have this idea that, of course, I'll make it. If I do the right work, etc., I'll definitely make it. But I think what we don't realize is that it also depends on how much the other people are working. So it's not just our effort, it's also the
Yeah,
effort of everybody else who is competing with us. So,
yeah,
effectively, for you to make it, you have to be better than them. And there is no way
yeah,
to know whether your effort or your luck, for that matter, is better than them. So I think this
yeah,
something I can that I've also learned, and something that you also mentioned, is that we need to stop focusing on that, definitely I will clear it, and focus only on the effort that one makes, because there is no guarantee of success in this exam, because it's such an uncertain, long, drawn out process where one might not feel that they have done well and get a good rank, and sometimes one might feel that they've not done so well and still, you know make it. So, I mean, kudos to you firstly for admitting that. Now I'd like to come to talk to you about a little bit about what was your experience like in the first attempt between the prelims and the mains? So what did you face? Yeah, so what was it like in those 3 months?
I think between prelims and mains is the craziest time during this exam cycle, okay? Because you have so much to do and the stakes are so high because mains is the one that actually gives you your merit and rank and everything. So the first time I was actually quite lost, I would say. I heard that, answer writing is very important. And I just went crazy doing answer writing only. I didn't realize that, building your content and having some substance is actually the main essence of writing an answer. So I think that was the main reason I couldn't get through the first time, because even though I was able to complete the papers, I was able to write full answers, my content wasn't developed so much because there wasn't enough time. I think 3 months between prelims and mains, if you've not really prepared before that, it's very difficult to actually manage to complete your preparation and have substantial foundation in your answers. So first time was really hard. It was quite haphazard. I was like हर जगह हाथ मारते हैं, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, इंटरनेट भी यूज कर लिया, सारे जितनी मैगजीन्स थी वो सारी लेने की कोशिश कर ली, whatever I could manage. Like uh, there's like an overload of content on the internet. There's overload of UPSC content everywhere in the market, and I was the one who was buying everything and trying to read it once and not revising anything and not making enough notes, and basically doing everything wrong. So I thought I was trying my best, and I did. Like, that is also hard work. That's what people keep saying. No, hard work is not important. It's smart work what is important, because you can work so hard in doing all the wrong things that it doesn't matter at the end of the day how hard you're working. If you're putting in 18 hours a day doing the wrong things, you're not going to make it in the list. So that's something that happened the first time between prelims and mains.
So in that first time, when I don't know if you realized this, did you realize this during the 3 months or did you realize this after? But in those 3 months, let's go a little bit into the mental aspect of things.
Mm-hmm.
You face depression, anxiety, stress. Did you feel overwhelmed in those 3 months? And if yes, just a little bit about what the experience was. I'm specifically asking this because I'm sure somebody is in the same situation as you were, who's
Yeah,
probably his first attempt this time. This is the time between prelims and mains, and
yeah,
maybe they are also feeling something. So if you could
yeah.
just and that, I think it will help them also relate that it's normal.
Yeah, I think the first time was very, very overwhelming because I read a few toppers copies and I realized how far I am from actually reaching that level of answer writing. And to be able to reach that, I knew I just had 3 months. 3 months se bhi thode kam the actually 2020 mein. So I was like grasping at straws, honestly. And you feel very alone. You forget in that moment that there have been countless others who've been in your position. In that moment, your struggle is just your own, and you think that I'm so alone in this. I have no support system, I have no guidance, and how will I, achieve this mammoth task? So that was kind of my mind state. It was quite frayed, and I think anxiety is something that I faced for the first time in my UPSC journey. Before this, I didn't even know what it meant. Matlab, how does it feel is a separate thing, but I didn't even know what it is before actually facing it. And before my first prelims, I had a full blown panic attack. I had to like lie down and everything. I was hyperventilating, and I didn't even know what is a panic attack at that point. So definitely it does take a toll on your mental state. And I think the most important thing that I've learned is, as long as you can remain calm and a certain amount of detachment is necessary in this paper, because if you make it your whole life and if you make it your whole purpose, you make it your whole identity, then dealing with failure becomes that much more difficult. So yeah, first attempt was quite crazy because I didn't have all this wisdom back then. But 3 attempts में काफी बाल सफेद हो गए and समझ आ गया है कि थोड़ा सा detachment is necessary to be able to keep a balanced mind.
Right. Something that I felt in my first attempt was, I think I was in the similar situation as you. Cleared my prelims, was had no idea about the mains, was underprepared, content was lacking, optional content was lacking.
Yeah.
So I remember feeling that at a lot of times I used to feel that something special needs to be done, which I don't know about. There is
Yeah.
a special ingredient which
कोई
I
secret है.
which I am not aware about. I am not privy to it, but it
Yeah.
definitely exists.
Yeah.
And only when I figure out what that special ingredient is, will I make it through the mains. And
Yeah.
I didn't I didn't make it through the mains, and I even this time, like I feel there is no special ingredient except a little bit of self belief, by realizing that everybody else we're competing with is also human and they are facing the same struggles we do. I think since these struggles are so seldom discussed, we don't even realize that this is something that everybody faces, regardless of whether they've made it to the list or not. It
Yeah.
feels, I mean, although people have said this before, but still, I think the voice needs to be stronger that even for the people who have made it to the list, their journey has not been smooth. It's
Yeah.
not been a straight road. They've faced these literal and figurative depressions along the way, and there's been anxiety and they've been overwhelmed. For example, I felt 1 month before my mains, the first mains, that I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
That is a very bad thing to think 1 month before. How can
Absolutely.
right? How can you know 1 month before? And ultimately, it was not that big of a margin. It was 18 marks, which is something that
Yeah. Even I missed my mains by like 7 marks, 8 marks, 10 marks, like that. So happens.
yeah. But the feeling that you get at that time, you don't think you are this close. So
Yeah.
you are watching this and giving the mains this year, you might not know how close you actually are. You might feel you are very far away because we look at topper copies after they've been refined, and this is their best copy that is being uploaded. Their bad copies are never uploaded. The ones that they think are the best ones, they are the ones
Yeah.
that are uploaded. So you're looking at
Absolutely.
a manufactured product at the end of the cycle that might have come, and use
Hmm.
time to maybe make it. So if
Yeah.
you're feeling overwhelmed right now, it is absolutely normal. This is, I think, the first takeaway you can take, especially since Ambika has been so generous to be very honest about whatever he's felt.
I mean, I think this is necessary, no, because everywhere you go, everyone glorifies success so much that they forget what goes behind it. And honestly, after facing so much, after facing so many times not being able to see your name on the list, when finally you see it, no, it's not. I mean, at least for me, it wasn't. It wasn't pure happiness. It was more relief because you're so used to not being able to make it that finally when you do, you don't realize the magnitude of that success. It's only when other people come and tell you that, oh, this was a great thing that you did, that you realize that it has some value. uh, Otherwise, inside, though, you're the same person who's gone through all those obstacles. You are the person who remembers how you got back up from those failures. And those are the things that have defined your journey. Success just happened now, but the definition of your journey is just struggle. No? And I think that's most important to be talked about.
Every selected candidate who has come on this channel has said
Yeah.
the exact same thing.
Really?
It is relief. Every
Really?
everyone, and also the people I've met who have not been able to bring on to the channel yet.
Yeah.
So almost everyone says the exact same thing.
The universal experience.
Yeah,
That way, UPSC is such a great equalizer, no? Because you face failure, but so have countless others, and everyone feels the same way. And if you face success, so have countless others, and everyone feels the same way. So, you should remember that there is this sense of intangible community, no matter where you are in this exam cycle. Like, the last thing you should do is feel alone in this, because UPSC, giving this exam is like a national hobby. So shouldn't feel alone in this journey at any point. No matter what you're facing, you should know that hundreds and thousands of people are currently facing it and have faced it and gotten over it. So don't worry. You'll also get over it.
right. One more thing I feel is that the exam is not like other exams in the sense that it is all pervasive. It is
Hmm.
like at all times, there will never be a time when it will not be in your head.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to find those moments of non UPSC time, even when you're having a nice dinner with friends or you're out for coffee with
Yeah.
someone you are attracted to. Even then, it's in your head, right? It never goes away. And that I think is the reason why most people experience relief, not
Yeah.
happiness. Like,
No,
because,
but this is actually quite dangerous also, to be so immersed in this paper that it becomes your identity. Like it's the constant white noise in your mind, no? And that makes it that much harder to come out of it in case you're not able to make it, I would say. That's why mental health during this journey is so much more important. Because other things, when you're doing, no, you're giving other exams that you've given in your life, the stakes aren't so high. In this, it's like life changing stakes. So people tend to associate their self worth with the result, which I think is a very slippery slope. Yeah.
but Ambika, I'd just like to ask you something here. Let's say like you have prepared and I have and countless others have. Most of us are spending our entire day
Yeah.
in and around UPSC, right? So if we're doing that,
Yeah.
don't you think it's very difficult for someone then to not be immersed completely? Because it
Yeah.
sort of does become your entire life. And it's not just those 8 hours or 9 hours that you're studying. Your friends
Mhm.
are talking about it, your relatives are
Yeah.
also talking about it. And the all pervasive nature of this exam is such. For example, this is a conversation we're having on YouTube. Somebody might have opened YouTube to take a break and might be listening to this.
Yeah.
Exam is like it will surround you everywhere. I mean, just to give an
Agreed, agreed. Completely agree with your point. But I think that's where mindfulness comes in, I would say. Because when I say you should not immerse yourself completely, I don't mean in terms of either time or effort or concentration. I'm saying in terms of how you view yourself. So I think I learned this after my first failure, because it was very difficult to dissociate failure in the exam from failure of the self, to not feel as if I as a person have failed.
right.
It was very difficult to dissociate from that feeling, and if you get that feeling and it becomes stronger and stronger, it's more difficult to actually get up from that and dust yourself off. So when I say try to not associate your self-worth with it, I mean it's just a state of mind. You should constantly, you know uh, remind yourself that at the end of the day, it's a paper and it's just a paper. It's not it's a test to see if, government of India wants you as a bureaucrat. It's not a test to see if Dr. Shivin Chaudhary or Ambika Raina is a worthy individual. That is not the purpose of this examination. Your worth as a person and your level of success that you reach in life should not be something that you directly associate with the results of this paper. So
Absolutely.
even if so what I mean when I say is that keep reminding yourself that you are working hard, you are an ambitious person, you're a hardworking person, you have perseverance, you have so many qualities that you actually need to go through with this paper, that even if you don't make it through, no, there is ample opportunity outside to actually be successful in life. And if you keep that in mind, it makes your life a bit easier. The stakes aren't life or death anymore. You have to remember that. I think that was one important learning from the first time I didn't make it.
I also think that this stream of this sort of motivation industry where toppers are glorified and like we were talking about, I think that also adds to it, because then you glorify, if you are saying that it's just an exam, then people who have cleared it should also be treated as those who have just cleared an exam. So you
That's true.
can't say that people who have cleared it will be treated like celebrities, but the ones
That's true.
are just
Honestly, I don't understand this celebrity culture in UPSC because, okay, in in other exams also, the toppers are kind of known, not so well known, but uh, you will know who's the topper. They might share their strategy and stuff. But in this examination, it's I don't understand the frenzy behind going after each and every person and right up to, because there are like 900 people on that list, and any and each of them can and is a celebrity of some sort, which honestly is quite surprising. It's a bit funny to me. But I think what that does is that you need a few people to be able to have some role models. You need some people you can look up to. You need that. I mean, it makes the success of the thing tangible, and it helps you visualize yourself in that position. So I understand the logic of glorifying toppers a bit, but to what extent is quite surprising in UPSC. I think that is, I don't know if I would say it's a problem, but definitely something that we should
it's a
address. Yeah.
I mean, like you said, very valid and very aptly said, that in no other examination is the personal life being
Yeah,
the topper being talked about.
exactly.
See, like I had a very good rank in AIPMT. My all India rank was 70. So at that time also I was asked to share my strategy, come to
Yeah.
Akash sessions. But there were no reels on YouTube of me with my friends.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on those. Oh my goodness. Like, I sometimes get messages from long lost friends or dur ke relatives. They're sharing some YouTube shorts or some reels with me. Like, is this you? And it's just random photos of, me in a lehenga, me in a sari with random romantic music behind in the background. So these kind of things I don't understand. Like, why? Who is sitting down and making these shorts and why? Initially, it was a bit flattering. Okay, you get a bit of validation. You're like, oh, very nice. People like to see and talk about me or whatever. But after a point, it gets a bit bizarre, honestly. So, and to be very honest, I was very conscious of this. Okay, so in every video or in every interview that I gave, or any toppers talk or whatever, and anytime I was approached, I would make it a point to be very well prepared and have a lot of content and substance so that people who are coming to watch it are not coming to watch me, because why do you care about who I am? You should care about the knowledge I can share with you about whatever my learnings are, and that should be the focus of the talk. But unfortunately, it's not, which I don't understand. Like, you need to stop glorifying people who get through in this paper and understand at the end of the day, it is just an exam and it's not like a pipeline to create celebrities.
Right. Absolutely, I agree with you. And I also feel that this this undercurrent or overcurrent of where these reels are being made and people are being talked about as celebrities and glorified, this is a very dangerous trend.
Yeah.
again, like I was saying, if you are telling people that it's just an exam, there are so many who are not making it, so many who might have done a lot of effort, maybe more than the selected ones. I mean, I'm sure there are people who are outside the list who have worked harder than I have.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
that it's just an exam, then I cannot be treated like a celebrity. I mean,
But
my
how do you stop it? It's not in your control, no. It's not like you're going and telling people to treat you normally. All you can do is stay authentic. All you can do to not contribute to this is to not give it any importance. Like, you can be careful about the content you put out there. You can be careful that whatever you're saying has some substance and you're not just riffraffing to get famous. That's all that is in your control. But you can't go into every house and tell people not to make reels about you. So how do you control that?
maybe you can open a YouTube channel called Mental Health and UPSC and then talk about so that people will
Yeah,
get that it's not something that you want, and it's not something that you're not, like you were saying. I found that very moving when you said that you are still the same person who's gone through the same failures even after your name has appeared in the list. You have not become a different person simply because your name is there, and it does not show that you are fundamentally a good person or somebody as or you're a worthy person. It's just if you're worthy enough of being selected for a job,
yeah,
ultimately a job,
yeah,
one be the best job, but it's still a job, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So
See, I won't completely agree with you because to get through in this exam, there are definitely some qualities that you need. So if someone's gotten through, you will know that they have some level of intellectual capacity, some level of dedication, some level of self discipline. So these are some things that without which I think it's really not possible to clear this paper. So a little bit of looking up to the people who've gotten through makes sense. But that is not to say that these qualities are not present in the people who've not gotten through, right? And yeah, like you said, doesn't mean that you are a great person or someone to be worshipped and admired. Definitely not. Definitely not. In fact, this is just the starting of your journey. At the end of the day, it's an exam to get through for a job which you yet have to start. So honestly, the kind of impactful work that you do will only happen after this point. You've really not done anything much in society up until this point. All you've done is work for yourself. And after this point is when you get a chance to make a difference. So maybe it would be a better thing to glorify those people who've actually contributed and done something worthwhile.
right, I mean, all that selected people are bringing to the table is good academics.
Yeah, and lots of potential for good work, but it's still potential. Maybe if you start glorifying good work, no, that would be a better thing than glorifying just someone who's gotten in. So then you have the motivation to actually work hard and make a difference in society. They should be the real celebrities, not just because you've gotten through, you become a celebrity.
Right. So in the last part of this video, I just like to talk to you about something that's completely opposite to the celebrity feeling, which is
Yeah,
so
which is,
isolation.
yeah,
So how do you, and what has been your experience like, and how do you deal with the fact that there are times when, I mean, like you said, there might have been countless people who have faced the same things that I have faced, who've had a
yeah,
similar journey as I have had. But there will still be times when I will feel utterly and completely alone. And I will feel that, it's just me against the world, a single man riding out a storm, or a single woman pushing a cart, right? So why is, and I mean, of course, the why is evident, but how do you manage that? And have you experienced something like this?
absolutely, absolutely. So I think the first attempt was the most difficult one because I saw a lot of toppers talks, and everyone talked about how they completely got out of social media and locked themselves in a room and studied for 18 hours and stuff like that. Okay, and when you've really never done anything like that, it feels like, oh, this is the only way to do it. And of course, if they've done it, then I will do it too. And I gave up my phone. I didn't have any phone. I was just sitting at home and studying. Even if I wasn't studying, I wasn't connected to anyone. And complete and utter isolation, which was really not the best way for me, I realized, because you really need a support system in this examination. It's just a second. It's not something that is touch and go, which you have to study for 1 week or 1 month and then things are done. It's a long process and you really have to pace yourself. And while doing that, if you forget to, stay connected with people or maintain a social life that keeps you sane, it becomes really difficult and things compound over time. So the first attempt was really bad. It was difficult for me, like on a day to day basis, especially right out of college. Okay, college is a place where you're constantly connected to people of your age and your friends, and people are constantly around you, and your social life is like off the charts. And then suddenly you come here right out of college and you lock yourself in a room. It really doesn't work like that. So isolation was something that uh, took a really bad toll on me in the first go, especially after I faced failure and I realized that nobody even knows, like nobody's there to even check on me because I've cut myself off from everyone that I cared about. And now I'm alone and facing such a big thing in my life, and there's nobody here to hold my hand. So that really takes a toll on you. I think after that, I learned that it's important to still stay connected because these are the people who will walk with you when you find it difficult to carry on, right? And keep a strong support system. You need not, have a rollicking social life. You're not going to parties and having like 100 friends and, being super active on social media. All that is not necessary, but having a few people who genuinely care about you and a few people who believe in you so much that it reinstills your belief in yourself. I think that is something that is so important in this paper that it's really neglected.
So, like you were saying, you probably did not have access to such a social group, right?
Yeah.
So, is there any way that you would recommend to somebody who is maybe preparing for the mains right now, is maybe not having that level of support system that you're talking about? And this, of course, is going to be the most anxious part of their attempt between the prelims and the mains. And of
Yeah.
course, for those who probably did not make it in the prelims with by a small margin or were expecting it, they're also facing a lot of anxiety right now because that failure does not go away very easily. So,
Yeah.
as the final part of this video, do you have any suggestions for them as to, and if any message do you have for them, the people who are watching, and if they've been patient enough to watch us till now and tolerate us this far?
Do people watch this far? We're just having a conversation. Anyway, but see, there are a few ways that you can always find like minded people. One way that I wasn't privy to was going for coaching and stuff. So, when you go for coaching, you know that these are the people who are literally in the same boat as you are and hence can understand your struggle well. So, making friends at coachings and having a peer group or a study group really helps. Uh, Apart from that, a lot of people can have, if you know people who've cleared the paper before, if you have some alumni, some seniors who have been through this struggle. Because, see, what is important is not just the fact that there are people there for you, it's also important for them to understand what you're going through. Because the kind of support you get from this understanding and connection is a different level, because then they can relate to you, they can help you move forward and things like that. So it's always best to have some people who've either faced it themselves or are so close to you that they understand you so well and they can see what you're going through, right? Apart from that, I think family also plays a really important part in this. Uh, I was very lucky to have parents and a sister who uh, gave me like unconditional support. I didn't have to worry about anything about them having my back or not. And that I think was a rock solid foundation of my support system. Not a lot of people are fortunate enough to have that. And so it's important to look outside just your family also. See friends, see people you've grown up with, see people who are facing the same struggles as you are, and try to be there for each other. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you make it or not. At the end of the day, it matters what kind of person you become after this paper. And I would say that I've changed like drastically through the course of these 3 years. And I've learned so much that I'm a completely different person from what I was. The essence remains the same, obviously. You're the same person inside, but you learn so much, and you learn so much about not just life and paper and failure. You learn so much about yourself and how you deal with things. That is the real learning of this paper, I would say. And remember that, and have a strong social support system so that it's easier for you to ride through these storms.
I think we can end on that note. I'm
Yeah.
so candid and honest. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, this is probably the first time I'm talking about the struggles that I face, because everyone's usually interested in knowing, people ask me questions like, रिजल्ट डे पे कैसा लगा, उसके बाद कैसा लगा, अब कैसा लग रहा है. All that is really not at all as important as how it felt on the result day that I didn't make it in the list. That was more, life defining than this event was. So thanks for asking all the right questions.
All right. I mean, I think this channel was made with the intention that when toppers come on here, they will not talk about their success. They will talk about their setbacks. I should not call it failure, but their
Yeah,
setbacks.
I think I need to review my vocabulary. I keep saying failure again and again, but failure is a word seems so final that it doesn't do justice to what you face. Yeah.
And these setbacks, so to speak, need to be normalized. It's not,
Yeah.
it happens to the best of us. And again, I'd just like to thank you for being so candid about it. And thank you all for listening. See you next time.